Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Your Biggest Fan, the podcast that chats to your favourite artists about their favourite artists. I'm your host, Jazmin L'Amy, in conjunction with the Noizze Podcast Network and sponsored by Satanic Tico. Today's episode I'm super excited about because this is one that, again, this happens a lot, had to reschedule with Adam Kerr, guitarist for As Everything Unfolds. And it's just, you know, when you go into something with absolutely no expectations and you have the best time. This was such a fun hour and a half chat with Adam. I've never seen so many tangents in my life. This conversation had more meandering than a fucking river does, but it's a lot of fun. It's been great. As Everything Unfolds is a band that formed in 2013. They're an alternative metal quintet based in Buckinghamshire, England. They're signed to Long Branch Records. They've toured internationally. They've only got one EP, but two full-length albums. 2021's Within Each Lies the Other, and most recently 2023's Ultraviolet. An incredibly good record. I would highly recommend checking it out. And the artist that Adam wants to talk about today, and this is why this one's quite interesting, because As Everything Unfolds are, as I said, an alternative metal quintet, but Adam's biggest musical influence is Bryan Adams. So he really hammers at home that Bryan Adams is the single-handedly the greatest rock star that ever lived, whilst almost simultaneously saying that you don't need the deep cuts to be a fan when you have the classic bangers. He talks about how the hooks and massive choruses of Bryan Adams influences, at least most recently, As Everything Unfolds music and the way Adam writes music for his band. We talk about other hugely influential Canadian musicians and how there must be something in Canada's water, because anything that comes out of Canada musically is just guaranteed to be successful. And we also end on considering Bryan Adams writes classic ballads, the most romantic thing Adam has done. So stay tuned. There's a lot of waffle on this, but it's a fun ride. And yeah, take a listen. I'm not sure how much Hannah told you about this interview, but the basic premise of this is that I'm assuming as a musician, you get asked the same questions every album cycle, every tour cycle, and it's just rehashing the same answers for different eras. And I find with social media these days, it's really easy for fans to forget that their favorite musicians just started out as fans, just like them. So this next 45 minutes to an hour is just a chance for you to forget about being a musician for now and just reminisce on the band that got you on this path in the first place and revert back to being a fan of music. So the band you want to talk about, or I guess the solo artist, whatever you would call him,
he's a collective. It's Bryan Adams, and he's a collective. He is omnipotent.
He is. Bryan Adams is he, she, her, them, him, everyone.
The single greatest. Well, the pronouns are rockstar. That's Bryan Adams in a nutshell. He's the single greatest rock star of all time.
That is absolutely true. I have a confession to make as well before we do this. I got confused between Bryan Adams and Bruce Springsteen when I started doing.
Whoa! Stop! They're both amazing, but how? The names aren't even the same.
I mean, they both begin with a B.
Oh yeah. To be fair, Bryan Adams, Beyonce, that's the same. Both begins with B.
See, easy mistake to make. No, it was it was the summer of '69 and Born in the USA. Those two songs, I got confused. I thought Bryan Adams. Yeah, exactly. So now that that confession is out of the way and I have repented for my sins, my first question for you is, do you remember the first time you heard Bryan Adams?
I do. And I don't remember how old it was. I don't know if I was like, I don't know, 8 or something maybe, because my dad was a really big fan of Bryan Adams.
Right.
And when we used to go away on holiday, it'd be like late in the evening. He put music on anyway, but that's one of the CDs that I'd always remember him putting on, because he would put on Reckless. He put the whole album on, and like that was every single time we went. I mean, he played it at home as well, but like it was such a kid holiday nostalgia album for me.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, this is really cool. This brings back loads of good memories.
So I
And then
guess
forgot about it for a while.
so I guess it's more of a like a nostalgic thing for you then, because I've had a few of these conversations now, and a lot of the time someone's favorite band ends up being the first band they got into that wasn't their parents' influence. So it's quite interesting that yours does come directly from your dad's taste in music.
Yeah, I mean, he was never like, you're going to listen to this. This is how it was. It was kind of like it just happened to be on, and it was the same thing with Meatloaf. There's like, my dad used to play the Bat Out of Hell album as well, and I was like, because that song is mental. But he never really forced me into it, and like I always, when I started listening to my own music, I think the first song I remember liking that wasn't anything that my parents liked. It was Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson, like the original, not even the A Day to Remember version.
Yeah, what a tune though.
Yeah, what a tune, right? Mega tune. And I just kind of went off like on a little tangent doing other stuff, and I didn't re-find him later down the line, and I was like, oh shit, like I love this so much, and it brought back so many good memories.
Yeah.
And they're all killer tunes.
So I feel like I kind of have a similar thing with Guns N' Roses. Like my dad and Iron Maiden as well. Like my dad had always put them on and he never forced it on me. But once I discovered them and once he found out I had an interest, Matt, that guy has not let me forget that. So I want to know, like, when you did start getting more into Bryan Adams and it actually became like something you were into on your own, how did your dad react or respond to that newfound
I don't even know if he really knows or is that aware, to be honest. I don't think we don't actually talk about music that much. He's normally too interested in what we're doing that he doesn't normally usually ask about the influences and stuff like that. He's like, oh, you're doing this thing, that's cool. Oh, you're doing that. Oh, that's mental. That's crazy. Oh, we bought the album. We're listening. We're doing this. Well, like we never really get a chance to talk about the influences because like he can't. There isn't a musical bone in this man's body.
Oh, bless him.
He can't play.
He's got great taste, though.
Great taste, right? But he couldn't play. He couldn't play the triangle. He couldn't play the cowbell. It's just the bar is low.
Oh, bless him.
It's not really. But like he's on music at the minute, so he doesn't. You know. Bryan Adams, it's a gone trend for him. He's a Muse boy now.
Yes. That's the next stepping stone.
I think I liked Muse before him. And he was like, oh, you got to check out this band. I was like, yeah, I know them. He was like, welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, like that was so last year, Dad. So I remember the first Bryan Adams song I heard, which was not Born in the USA. It was Summer of '69.
It could still be.
True. And I always used to listen to the radio in my mum's car when she used to drop me to primary school. I think that was when I first didn't start getting into music, but I noticed and recognized music. Like I'd make her drive around the long way so that we could finish listening to a song before I got to school. And I'm pretty sure on the radio it was the first time I'd come across songs like Summer of '69. And you mentioned there that the first album you heard from him was Reckless. Do you remember the first song?
Well, the thing is that the first song will have been, the first song now because he would just play it on. But the Summer of '69 is Some Music to Me is the one that I would always be like, that's the sound of like nostalgia holiday to me.
Yeah.
But then Run to You would do it as well, and Heaven would do it for me as well. But like part of it was like I didn't even, because I was so young. It didn't like time. You know, you think back to time doesn't really exist. It's just like this. It's whatever. So they all kind of just feel like at the same time, as well as not the same time. Do you know what I mean? I know that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, it does. I get it. Especially like if it's like, an album that you were introduced to, not just a song.
But like, I think because I've heard, and the way like memories are so easy to change and like alter, is that because I've heard Summer of '69 because it's the biggest one. I then think of it more than others. If you hear something more than like if someone says Guns N' Roses, your first song that you might have heard might not be Sweet Child of Mine, but like some part of your brain is like, I've heard it more. It must be, even though it's not. Could be anything. Could be fucking Welcome to the Jungle, which again is still massive, so it doesn't really count, does it?
So I guess then, like, beyond just like your dad putting on the album and it just kind of like being a part of, I guess, like the soundtrack to your childhood, at what point did something click for you? Because as you were literally just saying there, like, I'm pretty sure I would have heard Paradise City and Sweet Child of Mine a million times before I got into Guns N' Roses. But it was the song Welcome to the Jungle where everything like changed for me. So for you, at what point did Bryan Adams stop becoming background music and suddenly like actually become an interest for you?
What, not at the first time hearing it, as in like
like
later down the line? It can't have even really been that long ago, to be honest, because I had one of those really gross metal journeys when I was a teenager.
Gross metal journey.
Oh no, honestly, it's the ones where like you start out, and I think the first band, it was like Kelly Clarkson, Fall Out Boy, Korn, Avenged Sevenfold, and then middle, Suicide Silence, Job for a Cowboy, and stuff like that. And then I would just listen to the gross metal. Not gross metal, but I mean, you know, the stuff where it's like, it's just, how brutal can we be? Yeah. There is no clean vocals. There's no melody. It's the brutality and the rhythmic delivery is the vocal point. And then I had to like make my way back up the other side and then go, oh, okay, well, actually, I do like stuff with a bit of melody and I do like a bit of clean vocals, and then come back the other way. And then when I started to get back into the more rock stuff, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, Bryan Adams is amazing. I was like, this is great. And I was like, I know this band. I was like, this is I don't even know what I'm trying to say. This is like where like it was almost like, felt like I did like a 360 of like going from what I had before when my dad was playing stuff and going, oh, this is all cool stuff, it's all in the background or whatever, having to go on my own little journey and whatever, and then came back. So I mean, it must have been, I don't know, like 18 or something, like not even. Yeah.
So like a good solid decade. Not even that, Yeah, that's quite interesting as well, because I've kind of had the same thing, but with heavy music.
Really?
Heavier. Yeah, so a lot of my music tastes come from my dad, and he's very much like, if it's not Iron Maiden, it's shit. And for like so long, anything that was like remotely screamy, like my dad would not have it on in the house. And for so long, like I held his opinions as my own. And it wasn't actually until like the last few years where I was like, actually, there is so much like talent and deeper shit that goes in behind music like this that I hadn't even like given it a second chance the first time around. So I guess it's kind of, I feel like it's the same thing, but reverse. Like it's kind of come with age. Like at the time, you just kind of like brush stuff off and you're like, yeah, it's whatever. And then the second you just open up your mind slightly, everything changes.
Life is great at doing that, isn't it? It's like, ha, I told you so. You're like, shut up.
Yeah, literally.
I get there. Don't worry about it.
Like, this is my own personal journey.
you can't rush it. But the thing is, like, I think a lot of, and on either side of the screaming spectrum, because that usually is quite a hard stance between people on either side, isn't it? Really, and like, is that it's just another tool. It's just another technique of delivering a message or emotion that you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
You know, and then people on the no screaming side are like, I can't understand a word. Blah, blah. And then people on the other side being like, you're so stupid. Just listen to it, get over it. And it's like, it's a very extreme way of, well, it's extreme music usually, but like it's the point of, you know, what's past 100, what's past 10. It's like, well, it's 11, and that's always been the rock ways, and it's everything on 11. It's almost that next step, and not everyone is like ready for that. No, not ready for that, I suppose. Not as
I would say that. I feel like I wasn't, when I first heard extreme music, it was like my exes that were trying to force it down my throat, and I wasn't ready for it. And I did have to kind of like discover it by myself in my own time.
Yeah, you do. But it's like, you know, if you watch a movie on your own and you're in and you're following the plot, when someone else goes to you, you've got to watch this movie, you've got to watch this movie, and then they watch the movie with you, and they're like watching you, and you're like, I can't enjoy this because I can just feel your eyes in the back of me. And then, did you see that bit? Did you see that bit? And it's like, did you hear that scream? Did you hear that scream? You're like, yeah, but I don't get it.
Yeah, literally. I'm honestly the same. I've got one of my closest and longest mates has been trying to get me into like certain bands for so long. He's always like, oh, you should listen to this band. You should listen to this band. And so my full-time day job is I'm also a publicist, and one of the bands I work with is Avatar.
Nice.
And he tried to get me into Avatar for fucking years, and it just didn't click with me. And then I worked on their most recent album campaign, and I was like, this album is amazing. This band are amazing. And I saw them live, and I messaged him. I was like, why the fuck didn't you force this down my throat harder? This is great.
Like, I did.
Exactly. But going back to like when you were getting into, well, the first few times that you heard Bryan Adams, I find that on the nostalgic point of view, usually the first song I hear or the first album I hear by a band ends up being my favorite no matter what, because it holds so much sentimental and nostalgic value. So for you,
that's very true.
Are the songs from Reckless or Reckless as an album, is that your favorite album and favorite songs, or have other albums and other songs overtaken that since?
No, that's my favorite one, because Run to You is my favorite song.
Right.
It's the best one. And also because I mix bands as well. It's my sound check song as well. But it's that's the first one to test the PA. It's the first one I put on, and all the bands I'm with are always like, Adam's fine. Right there, we've heard Bryan Adams. It's fine. We know that everything's gonna be fine.
I love that. I love that. Like that song is so influential to you that it's still like near enough a part of your everyday life.
It's my PA tuning song. I put it on. I'm like, this. Now I know it's good. I'm like, if this sounds good, like everything else will sound great.
Yeah, like if this sounds great, everything's gonna be fine.
Thing is, there's always with mixing bits like that. It's always good to use stuff that that you've heard so many times across like so many different systems that like you just know how it sounds. Even because like you get a new pair of earbuds, or you get like new headphones or new speakers or whatever, and everything sounds kind of slightly different. Yeah. But like if you put on your song, you go, okay, that sounds like how that's. If you have to tweak something in the back or whatever, you go, okay, now it sounds right. Because I know how it sounds. Now it sounds fine.
Yeah, like you literally know that song like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
So when
everybody's got one or more.
Say again, sorry?
So everybody's got at least one or more.
Yeah, that's true. So when you like started getting into creating and writing and performing your own music, because I know when I was a kid and I would like sing along and dance along in my room, I always had like the specific songs I would go to that I would call like my karaoke songs. Did you ever use Bryan Adams songs to kind of like warm up or try and play along to? Or
no, because I think when I started playing bass at 11 and then guitar at about 13, and I was starting the gross metal journey. So a lot of the stuff
didn't have space for Bryan Adams.
No, I'd already gone past it, and because all my mates that we were like in school and we were playing guitar with and stuff, it was all more like Trivium and Avenged Sevenfold and God, who else? Bullet for My Valentine and stuff like this. So I didn't really ever. And I think they would have probably taken the piss out of me for being like, "Oh, can we can we play Summer of '69?" They're like, "No, no, we can't."
They were like, hand us over your metal card.
I'm just there like, Dad. Not the same.
So around that time then, because this one's slightly different because most people that I've spoken to, like their, I guess like moment where it clicked was usually the first time they heard it. But for you, it wasn't until later on. So what is it about Bryan Adams that stands out against all the other music that you're into? Like, what
He's
makes
the single greatest rock star of all time.
Yes, but explain your workings.
He's the single greatest rock star of all time. What are you talking about? That's a statement. That's a fact.
I'm not disputing that.
It's on Wikipedia.
I'm not disputing it. Show me your workings.
I don't know, like it just all his stuff. It just sounds epic. Like it's all got that. It's got that feel. Like when you hear, we're using that. I hate to keep using the big one. It's always when people do. I always pick one. But it's like as soon as you hear Summer of '69, like the guitar tone as well. Like it's got this such like it sounds like you're in an arena. Like it sounds massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that feeling of what like Thunderstruck by AC/DC's got that.
Yeah.
Fucking. What's the? Is it Welcome to the Jungle? The Guns N' Roses one that I think that's that big one, or is it a different one? It's not Welcome to the Jungle.
I mean, that's my favorite song of all time. So if we want to go for that one, I'm down.
We can go for that. It'll come to me. That's not the one. There's another one. That feel. Oh, I can't think what it is. Anyway, whatever. But they've got like it starts and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay, oh, okay. Like you can. It's got the feeling. It's got the magic. But then like all of his songs for me have got that sense of like polish and like star power that you don't always get in music. Do you know what I mean? Because I always think. So I was talking to somebody about this before, because we were talking about legacy and stuff, and I was like, I think the music, like, really, you want to make stuff that's going to hold up to the test of time, and that's why I quite like some of the older classics and stuff that have been there. They've lasted because they're just good songs, regardless of trends, regardless of time, regardless of cultural barriers or anything. It's just this is a great song, and it holds up and it stands up, and that they've just got that feeling about them, and the way he has his voice, and maybe it's partly the way that it's mixed as well. Like it just makes it feel. All the boxes are just ticked. It's like, yeah, how would you make it perfect? Yeah, you would do that, and you would do that, and you would do that, and it just has that feeling. But he's the single greatest rock star of all time. So it just this is all. This is all.
Yeah, so it's like that he is literally the embodiment of arena rock as well. Like it is made to be huge.
Yeah.
So it works. And as well, like I find his songs, so like from where I'm from back home, I'm the only metalhead in my friendship group. Like everyone else everyone else is like such a girly girl. So whenever we go out, I'm always like out of my comfort zone, but then we'll be in some sort of bar and there's always about like maybe 4 rock songs that both me and my friends can get along with. And that is Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer.
Oh, what a tune.
Right? It's like one of the only ones my mates will jump on board with me with. Teenage Dirtbag. What else? Rockstar by Nickelback.
Oh, but we love Nickelback.
And also Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. Like whenever that one comes on, I'm like, okay, now we are a unit. We are united.
It's a song appreciated by metalheads and normies. Like that crosses the divide.
Yeah, exactly. It's what brings. Maybe that's what we need to end all wars. Just play Summer of '69 and everyone can be friends.
Just, you know, they like put satellites up in space. They just do that, but it like there's like quite a few of them. They just make a big like world PA.
That would be cool. That's how we do it.
God, that would be mental.
Who will you talk to about this?
No, a space music engineer. Fuck, you talked about that.
But isn't it
funding for that?
Oh God, I don't know. But also,
Kiss would do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also, as long as they get to put their logo up next to it, they do it.
But also, isn't space a vacuum? Is there like no sound in space?
Only if we go that high. We'll stay in the ozone. We'll stay in the...
Okay, that's as far.
Space.
That's as far as. It's as far as my scientific knowledge went. I was like,
there's. It feels like there should be like a barrier. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when you blow a balloon or a bubble, there's very clear definitions, but like apparently, it just at one point it just stops, which makes no sense. But we won't get into that.
That's mental. It honestly blows my mind.
It sounds fake.
Yeah, right.
It sounds fake. Do you know what I mean? We're probably just in a snow globe. Like, what's the point?
If I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
Don't. What's that called? That's called something as well.
Conspiracy theory?
Oh no, it's called object permanence.
Yeah, that's it.
I have really bad object permanence. If I can't see something, it disappears out of my perception very quickly.
To be honest, that's the best way to live. Otherwise, life gets too confusing.
Amen. It's also a very big ADHD trait. So if you didn't know, now you know.
Fun times.
Is this the way you wanted to find out?
No. Anyway, back on topic. Apart from Summer of '69,
that was on topic, Jazmin. You can't say it wasn't.
It's a fun tangent.
Well, yeah.
So
every waking minute.
So besides Summer of '69, because I feel like we've talked about that song a lot, there are also other big songs by Bryan Adams that other people may have heard of. Run to You, When You're Gone, Everything I Do. Besides the big tunes, what other hidden gems that people might not be so familiar with would you recommend?
Pass.
What?
Pass.
You can't do that.
Listen, if it's not a big tune, like, who cares? I'm about to say something very controversial, right? Because, listen, there's tunes in our repertoire that if you didn't know, I'm like, I don't care. They probably suck. It's fine. Like, we make this, you make the big songs, and then they're the big songs. All the other ones, who cares?
I would have to disagree with you. Some of my favorite songs by some bands are like the ones buried deep, and I'm like, why isn't this bigger? Like, for example, I'm going to use Guns N' Roses again because my loves. There's a song called Coma, which is the last song on Use Your Illusion 1. It's a 10-minute long song. There's no chorus.
Right.
But it is fucking epic. It's a masterpiece. And occasionally they have played it live and I have lost my shit. And I think that should be a bigger song than it is. So
10 minutes long.
10 minutes long. Yes.
No chorus. No chorus.
No chorus.
How can there not be there must be a chorus somewhere.
Nope.
No?
Nada. I mean, there's like a riff, but there's not like a vocal chorus, you know?
Oh, okay. Fine. It's an ostinato.
I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna believe you.
Music.
You know, I've got A level in music technology, and I don't feel like I've ever heard that word until right now.
Oh my god, you've actually got. Wait, what did you get?
A D.
What does that mean?
A D in music technology.
Oh, okay, fine. I was gonna say I got passes when I did it for college, so I was about to be like, "Ah, you're higher than me," but actually, it's not distinction. I was like, "D distinction." I was like, "Ah, you win."
No, absolutely not. I barely coursed through.
I mean, I get it. I think maybe like thing is, there's so much music out there, like, and then when an artist has been around for like Bryan Adams was around for Reckless was 1984. That's nearly 40 years. Like, got how many albums is that in 40 years? 15?
Wait, I have it written down. Where did I write it? Down?
Are we including live albums? We shouldn't include live albums. Studio albums.
Oh my god, there's so many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17.
I'm sure, whilst he is the single greatest living rock star of all time, there is no way that every single song on there is perfect. And he knows that, because he'd be lying if he said otherwise.
Well, then my next question to you is, which songs did you find underwhelming? From the greatest living rock star ever, you're telling me he is not perfect.
That is actually so mean.
I don't know what you were expecting from this interview otherwise. The ones that you would skip.
That's not how I listen to music.
How do you...
I pick the songs I like, and then I'm like, yeah, all of these songs, like a little bunch. If I skip it once, I'm like, I'm never going to listen to this thing ever again. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm like, I don't care what it's called. I don't care where it's from. I don't care who made it. It's going in this pile. I've got this pile of, like, your Spotify like songs. I'm like, this is the songs I like.
Mm-hmm.
This is everything else. I mean,
okay. So you're not an albums guy then?
I don't know. No, because I mean they're albums are very pretty. They're very pretty, and they serve a very cool purpose. But like, that's it. When you like individual songs, because I'm really bad for like playing one song and repeat, and like I'll do that for like a couple of hours. If that's where I am, I'm like, and I feel bad. Like I try not to do it when I'm at work or I'm with other people, because I can imagine that is trying to do that to other people is just
I
mean, but that's torturous. if you don't want that on, that is torturous.
So you just have like a select few Bryan Adams songs that you like, and that is all you stick with. Of his 17 releases.
It's too many.
Sounds like many. Fake fan.
No, because like, who's got the time? And it's like, thing is, I get it. Like, some people are like super mega fan. They're like, they listen to every single thing, and they've got all the merch, and they go to every single gig they can. And I get it, and I love that, and that's very sweet. I think like, I've never even been to that many gigs, even like as a punter as well, which is mental. I get jealous. I'm just like, oh, I want to do that. I want to go up. I want to play. I was like,
I should be up there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's nice to do it. It's nice to see. Like,
we're doing like a hard pass right now.
It's 50-50. No, that's not how that works.
All right, I'll move on. So, as everything unfolds, have, I believe, 1 EP and 2 full-length albums. 2021's Within Each Lies the Other, and 2023's Ultraviolet.
Yes.
How has your love of Bryan Adams influenced your own music writing?
Not as much as it should do. I'll tell you that for free. Because, well, actually, to be honest, on the second one, there was definitely more of that, because we got to be a bit more rocking, and that was definitely the between the first album and the second one, the biggest like little moment that we were having. It was like we need to keep it rocking. So it was like every time we were trying to make decisions. Not that the whole thing comes out rock, should we say? But there was like it was definitely like it needs to be more rock and roll, more fun, more like arena-y kind of flavor, rather than like riffier, I guess. Not that riffs are bad. Obviously, you need like riffs, and there's like rock riffs and metal riffs, and
catchier.
No. Like no, because you could be catchy metal, can't you? Like, but like more rocking. It's a use. It makes. I promise you, the word makes sense. It doesn't sound like it makes any sense, but it makes sense.
More rock, less metal.
More, and it's more rocking. Keep it like, if you think what would be a cool rock moment for the next bit, you're like, okay, well that's the decision that we should be making.
Yeah.
Instead of like, what's the spacier metal bit? But it doesn't go for the whole time anyway. Like it's, but like there's definitely more from my point of view when we were writing them. It's definitely, I wanted to go for a more. I mean, we're obviously constrained with because what the band is already. You can't just go, hey, the first album sounded like post-hardcore, and the second
really album spice things up.
Like there's only so far you can go really without, a lot of your fan base being like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
like, this doesn't make any sense. Like with oh god, I can never remember the name of the this is not a complete sentence. The Asking Alexandria vocalist who then released a country album.
Danny Warsnop.
And then he released the country album, and everyone was like, well, half of them were like, this is amazing. Half of them was like, what on earth is going on? Like, you have to like go in stages.
It's weird that you mentioned that because I was listening to that today.
You actually. That's very freaky.
I'm going to America for the first time in January, and I'm going to Nashville and Arizona. And the friend I'm going with is obsessed with country music. So I've got a country playlist to get me in the mood, and that album is on it.
Very nice. And to be fair, Nashville is the home of music. Apparently.
Exactly.
Apparently.
I'll find out for myself. I'll take notes and I'll let you know.
Let us know. You might come back with a record deal.
Oh, I absolutely do not think I would. My mate might. My mate might. She can sing and do music stuff. I do the behind the scenes stuff. I'll be her publicist. That's what I'll do.
You've got the music tech degree, so you can do all the other bits as well. You can record it and then mix it and release it.
That's true.
Do the whole shebang.
To be fair, she did the music tech degree with me, so she does everything herself.
You do it over there. Yeah, I'll deal with the marketing. You do everything else.
We were just talking there about you kind of like using Bryan Adams's like arena rock sound and incorporating it into the latest As Everything Unfolds record.
Yes.
So he obviously sounds... Oh, exciting.
Oh, yes.
Inside knowledge. So obviously Bryan Adams has a very different sound to what most people would associate with As Everything Unfolds. So, and obviously bands are the product of everyone's music tastes, not just your own. So what do your bandmates think of Mr. Adams and your love of him?
Actually, John loves him with me as well.
Okay, that's good.
There's so many bangs because I played a few songs in the car and he's like, what song is this? What song is this? Don't you worry. But I think everyone likes the big ones. Everyone likes. I don't know how much Charlie likes them because she's not really. Not that Bryan Adams is really like the guitar music, but she's not really. She's a MCR emo.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of them.
There's always one. I'm joking. I think they'll like them, but it's tough because of the music that we do make, and we've said we make. Not that sounded very ominous. No, just as in like the albums have cemented. This is what we are. This is our thing. It's harder to then move the needle. But then you can get flares of it in there. I don't know how obvious bits and pieces like that can be, I suppose. Because stuff like All I've Ever Known and Saint or Rogue, okay, it's not really. Maybe you wouldn't say it like that.
I guess people are going to have to go and listen to them and see if they can pick out the influences. Yeah,
it's all so like smashed together, isn't it? And that's the thing. It's like having, it's like if you have, if you have red and blue and you smash the two colors together and it's like purple and you're like, oh, can you see where the red is? And you're like, Yeah, maybe. Like it's in there. It's in there somewhere, but it's like it's new. I guess that's not. There's a half answer.
That's a good analogy, though.
I've been able to do this.
And some education there as well. Primary colours making secondary colours.
But thank you. But like, that doesn't always count. So I fucking love tangents. I'm like, that doesn't always work though, does it? Because like sometimes paint does one color, but then paints do one color mixing, and then like lights and computer colors do another mixing. It's too confusing.
Too much science for my brain.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things I tried to do. It was like make yellow or whatever, and it's not the colors you think it's supposed to be. Whatever, I can't remember.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it sounds stupid.
Why can't life just be simple?
I think it can be if you just ignore everyone.
That's true. I've realized recently, ignorance really is bliss. Like, the less I know, the happier I am.
Right. And it does help. To be fair, if you pretend to be stupid as well, it does really help. Because then if people are like, oh, no, and you're like, oh, I didn't know. And then either they'll tell you or they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, but then the problem is when they tell you, I'm like, oh, great, now I'm in this conversation I don't want to be in.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. I've seen somebody get out of conversations by just saying, oh, hey, I'm just going to go over here for a second, and then just walk away. I just think that's just mental. Like, my English self could not. I could never.
No, me neither. I'm like too preoccupied with like, oh, I don't want to come across as a dickhead. But then, but then I still come across as a dickhead because then I put myself in situations I don't want to be in. So there's no winning.
It's always like that. I'm doing sound for work at the minute, and I have to go. I'm going around and just changing batteries and stuff. And some people are really lovely, and they want a conversation. And I'm like, I love you. This is great. I'm late. I need to go. And then they keep talking. I'm like, I need to go. Let's go do this. I'm actually working.
My housemate does the same thing. Like, he'll always want to talk to me like first thing in the morning, as I'm quite clearly in a rush making my breakfast and getting changed and trying to get my lunch together. And I'm like halfway out the door. And he's like, oh, hey, Jazmin, I was at this gig last night, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Will, I love you. And I know you want to talk, but we can talk about this later. I got to go.
Will. Sorry, we're way off tangent now. Oh, that's cute. How is Will? Is he there now?
No, he's gone off now for Christmas, so he's gone with his family.
Oh, that's very sweet.
But yeah, Will.
He's good egg. I love
This is going to be really awkward if we're thinking about two different Wills.
What, Will Marshall?
Yeah, that one.
It's Will. There's only one Will.
He is, yeah.
I mean, there's not. There's obviously... He's not the only Will in existence. There are...
He is the Will, though.
Yeah, he's the Will.
Oh, I like that. This happens quite a lot. Like, I was speaking to Megan from Vexed the other day, and Serena from Svalbard, and like everyone knows Will, so I'm like, yeah, my housemate Will, and like, oh,
and like, what, Will?
Literally.
That's because he's always about doing stuff. He's always coming up. He's always at shows. I always see him at festivals as well because he's just kicking about. Or he's either doing a couple of interview bits or no, he is usually doing interview bits, and I think that's how he gets himself in everywhere. Oh, you bastard, get him in there. He's like, yeah, free pass. Bastard.
He is everywhere.
I know. I'm so jealous. Just steal his identity. It's great. I
should just like go up to gigs and just be like, yeah, my name's Will Marshall. I should be on the list. Just make sure I'm there before he gets there.
And then just suddenly a red carpet rolls out.
Literally.
It's just me.
God, he's living the life.
Living la vida loca.
Speaking of live shows, have you ever... This is a great segue, if I do say so myself. Have you ever managed to see Bryan Adams live?
No, and I'm very distraught about it. And the tickets came up because he's at the Royal Albert Hall literally next year, and they fucking sold out like that. And I was like, are you taking the piss? He's there for 3 days in a row, and it's all sold out. The fucking Royal Albert Hall. Bastard. So I'm not going to go to Coventry, which I don't want to do. He's Coventry. Yeah, I know. It was like Coventry, Cardiff, or... Shit, where's the other place? Somewhere else that isn't close. Somewhere else. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's Ireland or something mental. I don't know. Anyway, like I was looking at the thing and I was like, well, Jesus. I think the only place that was standing was Coventry, and I was like, well, I want to see him standing, but I don't want to go to Coventry. This is a very tough decision.
Why were you? Why standing? Why not sitting?
Because it sucks. It doesn't suck. It's nice to sit down. Don't get me wrong. I love sitting down. But like whenever you go to like the arenas and stuff, you've normally got this really big standing space in the middle, and then at the sides you've got seating, and at the back you've got seating. So if you're at the side, you're kind of like side on, so it's not like the best. I guess you're higher up, so you get to see stuff, but like sound wise, I'm like, this is probably not the best. And then if you're right at the back, it's like, Jesus, like you're like back here, and there's so much reverb hitting you in these big, in these big spaces. Excuse me. If I'm like, well, if I at least get standing, I'll push my way to the front, or at least front section.
You would get barrier for Bryan.
Hashtag.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that down.
I don't know if I want barrier for Bryan. That'd be kind of mental. But then maybe he'll have one of those. Is he a diva like that? Not massively. I was thinking we're gonna have the little catwalk that comes out.
I can't imagine having one of those in Royal Albert Hall. It doesn't like.
No, I don't think you're happy for that.
As great as seeing him would be at the Royal Albert Hall, I'm surprised he's not doing somewhere like the fucking O2 Arena.
I don't know why. I don't know. He's just got a residency. He's doing the 3 nights there. Well, I mean, how big's the Royal Albert Hall? How big's the O2 Arena? The arena's what, 10? Yeah,
that sounds about right. Because I've just like I said, like my other mates are not metalheads. And one of the bands that we get along with is Girls Aloud. That is what I was into before I discovered metal. So we got.
It's only off the side. Oh my God. Sorry.
We got tickets for Girls Aloud, but we only managed to get them when they released the 5th extra date.
Jesus.
For the O2. Like,
that is fucking mental.
Surely Bryan Adams could do that as well. And then there's way more space for you to stand.
You'd think so. Well, what is it? So he's sold out three nights. That's 15,000 people. That's 1.5 days at the O2, and it's in like May. So January, February, March, May. 5 months. There's still 5 months to sell. He could have done it. Maybe they're booked up. I don't know the logistics of it. I know that's a boring answer, isn't it? Really, but
someone needs to have a word with his booking agent because this isn't justice for Adam.
It should be, honestly. Thing is, I know that I would have been disgusted by the price.
Oh, I can imagine. What's the most you would pay to go and see? Bear in mind, you've not seen him before. So what's the most you would pay to go and see him?
I'm going to say a price. Don't judge me. I'm not saying I'll be happy paying this price. I'm just saying this is the most amount of money I'll be willing, just on the concert tickets alone. £200. Okay,
that's not.
I wouldn't be happy about spending £200, but like, that would be if it was £201. I ain't going. That's that's the cut-off. I can't possibly part with any more money.
I don't think it would be that much either. Like no, because I've been to a few O2 shows, and ticket prices are usually like 100, 120, depending on the artist. So
that already feels bad. Do you know what's mental as well? Right, I saw this the other day, and I actually couldn't believe it. I was chatting because we're playing with Skindred in March, and they're one at the show at Wembley. I was like talking to my mates about it. They're like, "Oh, we love to come down. Oh, we love Skindred. Oh, you POD? Oh, that'd be a fucking mental thing." And they were like, "How much are the tickets?" And I looked up, and it was like £40. And I was like, "How?" I was like, "That is mental
bargain
just for Skindred at like Wembley. That's already a steal." I was like, "This doesn't make any financial sense to me."
Yeah,
I was expecting it to be like 80 quid. Like,
it'll probably be 80 quid with all the fucking ticket fees on top of it.
Oh, I didn't check the ticket fees. See,
rookie mistake.
I don't go to enough gigs. I don't know it enough. I'm so out of the loop. I don't know the logistics of it.
Yeah,
and then I'd want to go backstage, and it'd be like, and then you can't bring your own drinks in. It sucks. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's true.
That's why festivals are good.
Yeah, I like being able to. So completely again off topic and on a tangent. I went to see the Motley Crue and Def Leppard Stadium show.
Very nice.
And I knew that and I'd never seen either of these bands before.
Mm.
And I knew that Motley Crue were not going to be up to scratch. And I knew I was probably going to be a little underwhelmed by them. However, these are two massive stadium bands that I'm yet to tick off. I was yet to tick off my bucket list. So I was like, you know what? For me at least, having never seen these bands before, it's going to be worth whatever I've got to pay for it. I don't know how I fucking managed to do it, but I got like a seat. They were all seated, but it was in like the area where you'd usually stand for 90 quid.
That's fucking bargain.
For two bands of that fucking size, you'd probably be paying more to just go see one of those bands.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know how I did it. I had like 3 separate tabs open and I was just refreshing all of them. And most tickets, even for like the really shitty seats, were like 150, 200. So I must have been a fluke. There was a glitch in the matrix.
If they were mostly 150 and you got it for 90, that's either black magic or
glitch in the matrix. It was a good day.
That was a good day. There should be more glitches. They should stop patching stuff. Do you know what I mean? Let the cracks stay, and it's better. It's funny.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I feel like it's annoyed me now that you've told me Bryan Adams is only playing the Royal Albert Hall when he could quite easily sell more tickets for less nights at the O2.
Yeah, but he's Canadian. He's polite.
That is true. Speaking of Canadians,
that can't be. If he was polite, he would play. There'd be more tickets.
God damn it! They're an enigma, the Canadians, aren't they?
Yeah, it's half English, half American, half French. Something's not right.
You just say half English, half French, half Canadian.
Yeah. No, American, half American.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that made me laugh. Do you mean a third?
No. You don't see? Oh, that's a silly one from. If you don't watch South Park, that's one from that.
Oh, that one tickled me. Speaking of Canadians, I feel like so much good music comes out of Canada.
Nickelback.
Right, I've also got tickets to go see Nickelback at the O2 next year, finally. So that was going to be my next question. Like, are there any other?
Actually, while we're talking about Nickelback, however, right, here's his problem, yeah, because Chad's cut his hair.
When did this happen?
Recently, because he's got the short hair now, hasn't he?
Does he? I've not seen it. I've not seen it.
Yeah, he has. So I remember I've seen a picture of him. I know I've seen an interview with him recently, and I was like, Chad, what is going on?
I've got to look it up now as well.
Yeah, bring the curtains back, man. What's going on?
Is this recently, or is this just like how recent is recent?
Well, it was recent to me.
I feel like it's looked like that for a while now.
It's recent enough. If I type in Nickelback Chad Kroeger haircut.
There's an article here through the years with Chad Kroeger's hairdos. Again, what is journalism these days?
More than a decade ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not out of the fucking loop. There is no way.
I feel like all the memes that involve him are with his older noodly hair. Maybe.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe that's why. Maybe you've just been seeing Chad in meme form for so long.
Maybe when I think about Chad in my head and in my dreams, I only imagine him with long hair. Imagine one day just Slash isn't wearing a top hat. Like, what's going on? Doesn't make any sense.
He actually sometimes wears baseball caps backwards.
Yeah, and it looks mental. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Like, that's an imposter.
Yeah, innit? Like, because you got the sunglasses. How do you even know it's him? You don't know. It's showbiz. It's crazy.
I know.
Some fake. Some smoke and mirrors.
We mentioned a little bit earlier that when it comes to like merch and band shirts and albums and CDs and stuff, do you own much Bryan Adams merch or anything on CD or vinyl?
In general.
God.
I know. Do you know what's really bad is that I'm the sort of fan that I'm not helpful at all. Like me as a musician, I'm the person that I'm like, dude, why don't you buy a shirt or something? And I'm like, now your music's fine. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Like not even like CDs or vinyls or the albums.
I've got the CDs. Yeah, the
How?
CDs don't count as merch. I don't think they count as merch.
Yeah, but how many do you have?
2. That's
You
enough.
you've got 2 CDs.
That's enough.
Which ones do you have? Obviously, I'm assuming
I've got
Reckless.
Reckless and I've got Waking Up the Neighbors. That's enough.
When was Waking Up the Neighbors?
That was
Ah,
2 hours later.
so you skipped Into the Fire. Not even chronological.
Who needs chronological? I feel so bad for you because you're desperately trying to like put method to the madness, and there is no method. There's no method. There's no planning. I'm just like that thing. That's good. That's me.
Chaos.
Yeah, like thing is in my mind it's orderly chaos, but it's not in other people's minds, I imagine.
Because I find like at least when I was like younger and getting into music and discovering bands for the first time, I would like hear a song, for example, figure out which album that song was from, listen to that album, and if I liked that whole album, I'd see if there was like albums before that one, and then I would buy like an entire discography, and then I would listen to that band from day dot onwards in order. I was like, I need to be part of this journey.
I have no shame in just skipping albums out.
Evidently, I'm discovering that.
Yeah, honestly, I think I used to love. Well, I still do love Trivium, and it was like, what was it? What was oh God, what's the first one called? Ascendancy, and then The Crusade, and then oh God, Shogun, and then whatever came after that. I think I just didn't like the look of the picture, and I was like, eh. So I was like, yeah, no, I don't like this one.
It's interesting you say that though, because I say this quite often. I find artwork and the visuals to a band are way more important than some people think. Because especially like back in the day where you used to go into like HMV and record stores, and because most of the time you would see the album artwork before you heard the music.
That is very true.
And I've always found that it's so important to have artwork and visuals that would like represent what it sounds like. Obviously, it's different now with Spotify and streaming and all.
Yeah, it's like either that or like a statement, isn't it? Like that's the two. Yeah. But then, yeah, but like you're kind of selling like, as well as you're selling the songs, you're almost kind of like selling a life. Excuse me, you're almost kind of selling a lifestyle as well.
That is true.
Or like a way of thinking away, because it's like a soundtrack to somebody's life, isn't it? Because that's what music, at least in this, the way that we listen to them in definitely the West and definitely in modern societies, that it's like a soundtrack to our lives, you know. So like the imagery that comes along with that as well is almost what you're selling the whole thing. I was like when punk came along, their whole thing was like, yeah, fuck the man, this music is fast, fucking shit up. And the people that wanted that and they wanted that as their soundtrack, they bought into the whole movement of it.
Yeah, because it's relatable. That's what people grasp onto.
Yeah, but then if that wasn't what your life is about, you know, if your life is about being a law-abiding citizen and doing your accounts and you know, you do a pottery class on a weekend,
then you listen to Oasis.
That'll be Oasis slander. We won't be having Oasis slander here. It's not going to work. I can't stand it.
What about Coldplay?
It's fine. Like Coldplay is just like the wind, isn't it? Like it's just there.
All right. Well, forget I said Oasis and pretend I said Coldplay instead. Sometimes I get those two bands mixed up.
To be fair, so similar. They sound identical sounds. Identical frontmen. I can see.
Exactly. One is the wind. One is a gust.
Yeah, that is fair enough. Yeah, jeez.
Really going hard on the analogies.
Well, that does describe the two brothers as well, doesn't it? Like one of them is the wind, and one of them is definitely a gust. He's the cooler one, so it's fine.
I'll take your word for it.
I won't name them. We'll leave it.
We'll leave it to whatever other people want to believe.
Leave the ambiguity, yeah.
Exactly. I feel like going back to Bryan Adams,
Mm.
I feel like Bryan Adams is one of those bands and solo artists that tends to appeal mostly, obviously, there is the odd one out every so often, tends to appeal mostly to middle-aged women.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. To be fair, actually, I was thinking about this earlier as well before this interview. Is that he's kind of got that Elvis kind of swagger about him as well?
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what it is. I find it's the same with Bon Jovi nowadays as well. Like,
Yeah. Come on.
yeah. Like my mum and everyone that is just like my mum is obsessed. And the same with Bryan Adams as well. I feel like it's a very middle-aged mum trying to live their wild teenage girls eras.
But they're still trying to live in that moment. I feel
Yeah.
that.
I
To
think
be
as
fair,
well,
like, this makes sense.
he's got a lot of like romantic songs as well and ballads. Like that man can write a ballad.
Oh,
And
can't he just?
I'm a
Can't he just?
sucker for a ballad, especially in that kind of like arena rock area. So I want to know, what is the most romantic thing you've done for someone? I'm
Jesus.
expecting top tier content here if Bryan Adams is like one of your biggest
Yeah, to
influences.
be fair, what is the most romantic thing I've ever done for somebody? The thing is, the problem is like it's romance is so different between different people, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That is
Everybody
true.
likes different things. I'm a little bit like, it depends what you think is romantic. You know, even just this might not be the most romantic thing, but I think it's still kind of sweet anyway. Because I'm not really a big gestures. I'm not a big gestures person. I'm like a
The small
make.
things.
I'm like no, but not even. But it's like make a Tuesday special kind of person. Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, champagne on a Tuesday is quite sweet. But, even if you just make dinner for each other, well, you make all the dinner for them, and then you run a bath, and then you put the candles and the bubble bits and some flowers and all that fucking shit and whatever, and then you have a massage and blah 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 and all this little sweet stuff. Um, I think that's sweet. I think it's cute. It's a little something. Some people,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's so romantic. They spent all this money and they took me on a flight to Italy, and that was the most romantic thing. I'm like, yeah, but you've just gone on a holiday. That's not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Most
I don't.
people do that.
Yeah, it's like I think it's just the passion of being intimate with somebody in a nice, caring way and looking after them. And you can do that with champagne on a Tuesday, and then you run them a bath, and they can just relax and do their own thing, and you can take care of everything else. They're taken care of. Blah
I feel
blah.
like Champagne on a Tuesday is a great song title.
Mm. If I could sing, if I could sing,
If you could sing, you would write a Bryan Adams inspired ballad called Champagne on a Tuesday.
if I could sing, I would do a Bryan Adams. It wouldn't be a Bryan Adams solo project. It'd be an Adams solo project. But
I
I
love that.
can't really. It'd be nice to. I always think about doing stuff like that because I write music just all the time, just for fun.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, I know. It'd be nice to do stuff like that and then have a little play with that. But I can't sing, so
Well, practice makes perfect. Never say never.
yeah, never know. Start Bryan Adams cover band, get it going, and then steal all his songs, steal all his chords, and then
Yeah. And weirdly enough, tribute bands seem to make more money than original bands, apparently. So
yeah, they do until original bands are like and then it's like okay, no, it's not the same.
yeah.
It's because I've often mates in some cover bands and stuff as well, and they're like, yeah, it's crazy. Like we just did the show, like we all get £1,000 a night. I'm like, what each? I'm like, Jesus, that's
Fucking
mental.
hell.
Yeah, but then like it kind of caps out at that.
Right, okay. So you can never like go higher than that.
I mean, you probably could, but you just got to sell more tickets, haven't you? And but you're selling um, you're selling nostalgia, aren't you? And obviously the
Yeah.
clientele of people that have that, just as life goes and they get older, it kind of goes that way, doesn't it? And the trend of it fades. So like that'll be that bit. And that you might go, oh, £1,000 a night, that's amazing. But like if you're Bring Me the Horizon and you're selling out whatever Jesus crazy mental arenas they're doing now, they're making way more than £1,000 each a night.
Yeah,
Way more, you know. But it's like it takes longer to get there, so
that is true.
fair enough, innit?
Well, I have one more question for you for
I've got one
tonight.
more answer. And about
If-
5 more seconds.
If you had to introduce Bryan Adams to someone listening to him for the first time, which 3 songs would you choose that encapsulates his entire discography and career? Just 3.
No, because the ones I want to show them are more the ones that you should show them. They're not going to be the same thing, are they? You've got to do everything I do it for you, because that's beautiful, isn't it? And that's very sweet. And you've got to do Summer of '69 because it's just the big one, which would be mental if somebody's not heard that, to be honest with you.
That is true.
That would actually be insane.
So that's 2 sides of Bryan Adams. You've got one more to show a difference.
Sweet side. We've got more rocking side. Come on, I was literally thinking about it earlier as well, and I was going to bring it up, and then we got sidetracked.
Should probably have had like all the songs up and just go through them.
I know. Oh, what's the fucking one? So I was thinking about one earlier when we were doing it, and it's going to fucking piss me off.
Do you know how?
No, do you know what's really annoying? Because I was literally learning this on guitar the other day. It's Can't Stop This Thing We Started. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just. I don't care that they're from so close albums. I don't give a fuck. They're just like, oh. It's got so much like heart and emotion in it, like in the middle of being like, it's not. It's kind of sweet, but it's not. But it's like really rocking, but it's not. And it's like.
It's a little bit of everything that you need in life.
That's a nice one. I like to play it as well. I just sit there just playing the fucking solo. I don't care about the rest. I mean, I do care about the rest, but like I just play the little solo on mine. I'm like, so fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for having this chat with me. This has been a very fun
pleasure.
hour and 20.
Have fun editing that. That'd be good fun.
Thank you for listening to I'm Your Biggest Fan. If you enjoyed what you heard, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, send it to your nan in the post. Every little helps. You can follow us everywhere at biggestfan_pod. Follow me everywhere at Wrathchild_jazz. Noizze at Noizze UK on everything. Noizze Podcast Network at Noizze Podcast Network on everything. And Satanic Tico at Satanic Tico and at Pitch Black Nor. If you have a band member in mind that you think would be perfect for this podcast, perfect for this topic of conversation, or maybe you are the band member and you're the super fan, drop us a comment, drop us an email. All other info can be found below in the description. And thanks again for listening. We'll catch you soon.